Angie, where on earth are you right now? You're supposed to be doing your chores. I know you're off playing your silly little computer games or whatever. And if you have time to play games, then you have time to work around the house. I moved out. What? You're constantly barging into my room while I'm meeting with a client to scream at me about one thing or another. And you've also thrown away documents I need for work 3 times this month. I can't work in an environment like that, so I left. Ah, yes, that's a lovely fantasy, but in reality, you're nothing but an unemployed parasite. Now hurry up and get back here. Your brother will be home from work any minute now. How do you think he'll feel if there's no hot meal waiting for him? You also have laundry to do. And I've been telling you to clean the bath and toilet for 2 days now. I've got an idea. How about you do some of the housework for a change? Ever since Dad died, you've been living off of our incomes. And you haven't even held a job either, so it's not like you're too busy to do it yourself. Excuse me? Not only do I have to deal with moving into my new place, but I'm also super close to a deadline for a big project, so I'm super busy right now. Talk to you later. Hold it right there, young lady.
Hey, Angie, got a minute?
Terry? Wow, it's nice to hear from you. It's been so long.
Listen, I've got something to ask of you. And, well, it's a pretty big ask.
Uh-oh, what is it?
The thing is, the company I've been working for just went bankrupt.
Holy cow, bankrupt?
I just found out today. The CEO called a meeting out of the blue when I got to work. And that's when he broke the news. And all the other employees are freaking out.
Oh, man. Wow, I can't imagine how that must feel. All of a sudden, the job you thought you could count on just up and vanishes.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great feeling. The CEO did say that he would work around the clock with his contacts to find us all new jobs. But the company he wants to set us up with is an absolute hellscape. A couple of my college buddies worked there. They were shocked with so much overtime. It put them in the hospital. They both quit within a few months.
Yikes, oh, that doesn't sound like a place I'd want to work.
Right? So I talked to my wife about it and decided that I'm gonna go ahead and turn that offer down and find an employment for myself. And since I'm currently living in employee housing owned by a company that's going bankrupt, I'm also gonna have to find a new place to live.
Wow, I'm sorry, Terry.
Since I'm gonna be unemployed for at least a little while, I'd be nervous about signing up for an apartment lease, and with my wife being pregnant and all.
Do you want to come and stay with me in my condo? I've got a spare room that you can use.
It would only be a temporary situation, I promise. As soon as I find work, we'll move out as soon as possible. We won't be a burden, Angie. And we might not be able to pay much, but we'll definitely give you some money toward living expenses. Now, just one big problem remains. Since Mom is currently living with us in my company's apartment, she's probably gonna come along with us.
Yeah, I figured as much.
And that's exactly why I feel so reluctant to do this to you. I know you left the house specifically to get away from her terrible treatment of you, and now I'm gonna be throwing you right back into that environment.
I understand, but you have more important things to worry about. Your wife's gonna give birth soon, right? I know you said her parents live way on the other side of the state, so you can't live with them. And it would be difficult for her to change to a completely different doctor at this point. So for you guys, considering the entirety of your situation, there really isn't any other option but to move in with me. Does that about cover it?
Yeah, you said exactly what I was just about to. I really hate to ask you to do this, Angie.
Okay, well, I totally understand your circumstances. But I think you should know that I've had a change in my own circumstances lately. And, well, I guess if you're okay with dealing with that, then I think it shouldn't be a problem for you guys to live with me on a temporary basis.
Circumstances? What's up?
It's kind of a long story, too long for texting. Could we meet up and talk things over?
Sure, no problem. How about tomorrow afternoon? Are you free?
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon works fine for me. Angie! How many times do I have to tell you before it gets through that thick skull of yours? You need to do more housework. Sure, your brother might have a wife of his own, but she just gave birth. She needs to take care of the baby. You've got the most free time on your hands, so put those hands to work. I am doing housework. Oh, you are you? Exactly what have you done this week, Go on, do tell. I've been taking turns with Terry rocking the baby back to sleep when he wakes up at night in order to let Samantha get as much sleep as possible. I also do the laundry, go shopping, wash dishes, vacuum the carpet, cook meals, clean the bath, clean the toilet, sweep the hardwood flooring, take care of paying the utility bills, and probably a few more things I've forgotten. I've never seen you doing any of that. Well, that doesn't surprise me, since you're usually too focused on whatever TV show you're watching to notice anything else going on in the house. Oh, now you're blaming me for the fact that you are a lousy homemaker? No, just saying that if you would turn off the TV every now and then, maybe you might make yourself useful one of these days. You really are an ungrateful little wretch, Angie. Even though you're being generously allowed to live in this beautiful condo, you think you can talk to me like that? Huh? I'm being allowed to live here? Yes, obviously. Out of the kindness of his heart, that Saint Terry has deigned to allow you to move in with us. Honestly, you don't deserve to benefit even in the slightest from Terry's hard work. He's such a hard worker, he was able to buy this condo the instant we had to leave his old place. I'd be more understanding if you actually had a job, but you're still just playing on your computer all day. I am working. I'm doing the exact same job I was working 3 years ago. You just didn't listen to me. I mean, seriously, Mom, where have you been the last 4 years? Everyone knows what remote work is. You might be the last person alive who doesn't understand that some people can work from home. Don't patronize me, you little brat. Of course I know what remote work is. I just recognize the reality that someone with no work experience like yourself would never be allowed to work from home. Someone as useless as you has to be closely observed, or else you'll just start slacking off. I see. I guess you're just committed to this vision you have where I'm a useless nobody, Mom. I'm committed to encouraging you to make something of yourself. I don't want you to be a useless nobody forever. The only one who thinks I'm a useless nobody is you. And for the record, I'm the one who got this condo. I started renting it 3 years ago when I first moved out of the house. And also for the record, Terry is still looking for work after his last company went bankrupt. How did you get so deluded? Deluded? Me? I mean, I know for a fact that he's told you all of this multiple times. That boy is truly a saint. Telling lie after lie to his own mother to protect his good-for-nothing little sister. An upstanding man like him who can buy an amazing condo like this downtown deserves to be able to boast about his success. But instead, he's humiliating himself to protect the likes of you. Such a tragedy. I've had more of this than I can take. I'm gonna get back to work. Oh, there you go again, pretending you have work to do to get out of talking to me and doing your chores. Where did I go wrong in raising you? I feel like an utter failure. I think I might have to finally resort to more drastic measures.
Oh no, Angie, this is really bad. Mom just had all your stuff hauled away to the dump. Your furniture, clothes, files, cabinets, everything. It's all gone.
What?
She must have thought that today was her only chance since both of you and I will be out of the house. Seriously, Angie, I'm so sorry. But your room is totally empty.
Huh. Okay. That's fine. I mean, this was such perfect timing for her to do that. It's actually pretty funny.
What?
All of my stuff is actually safe and sound, exactly where I put it.
Oh, right. I totally forgot about that.
Yep, I already put everything I was going to take with me in my rental locker. The only stuff I had left in my room was stuff I was gonna be throwing away or donating to charity anyway. But, wow, I expected Mom to do something like this eventually, but this is honestly a bit earlier than I predicted.
Yeah, looks like we've come to the end of the line.
You guys should make your move as soon as possible, too. You've seen how Mom has been since you guys moved in. She's gotten even lazier and more entitled than she ever was before. Once I'm out of the picture, I'd say it's only a matter of time before she sets her sights on Samantha. You get that too, right? I can't imagine it's going to be easy to raise your kid in a peaceful, loving environment with her around.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Just remember, if you guys are having any trouble at all financially, you let me know and I'll do whatever I can. I wouldn't have any problems with you guys coming back to live with me over there, if it would help you get back on your feet.
I really appreciate it, Angie. I'll talk to Samantha tonight and see what she thinks.
Hello there, Angie. I thought you ought to know that I've had all your things taken to the dump. Want them back? Go and get them. And don't think you'll be allowed back into this condo ever again. You can live where an unemployed leech like you deserves, on the street. Now I'll be able to have a peaceful, happy life with my grandchild. Without you freeloading, things should get easier financially for your brother. And since the baby's getting older, Samantha can start doing all the housework that you refused to do. Oh, I'll never get tired of the view from this floor. This is the lifestyle I've always deserved, and it's finally mine. Hey there, Mom. I was meaning to thank you for taking care of throwing away all that junk for me. What? And just so you know, I terminated the lease on that condo. You what? Now, I'm actually quite busy at the moment, so if you'll excuse me. You terminated the lease? I don't understand. Angie! What sort of evil, twisted lies did you tell Terry and Samantha? Not sure what you're talking about, Mom. What's going on with Terry and his family? What's going on? They're gone! And it's all thanks to you and your silly threat to terminate the lease. Threat? They knew from the very beginning that I was going to be terminating the lease. The intent was always for this to be a temporary living situation for them. Wait, temporary? Again, I know for a fact that Terry told you all about this. You're just being delusional. I'm not the delusional one. You are. This whole time you've been talking as if the condo your brother worked so hard to purchase for me was yours all along. As if you could afford such a thing. And then you went so far as to call your brother unemployed. How disgraceful can you be? Okay, so for the millionth time now, the reason Terry told you that wasn't because he was protecting me. That's all just 100% factually true information. Again with your lies. The company Terry was working for suddenly went bankrupt. Being newly unemployed, it would be pretty difficult for them to rent an apartment. Plus, Samantha was in the final month of her pregnancy and the baby was set to be born any moment. So it would be a huge burden on her to move far away and get set up with a new doctor in time. And so, considering their circumstances, the possibility that made the most sense was for them to move in with me temporarily. That's why he asked me, and I agreed to let the three of you move into my condo. But I thought he moved out of the employee housing because he bought this new condo. He's not insane, Mom. No one would do something as stupid as buy a new condo exactly when their company went bankrupt. But, that doesn't make any sense. If he didn't buy or rent that condo, how was he living there? Are you starting to develop dementia, or are you just not listening to me? I rented it. How could you? You're unemployed. I'm a YouTuber. A what? What on earth is that? It doesn't surprise me that you don't know. Your generation wouldn't be very familiar with it. But I'm still taking in about 30 grand a month. 30,000? But... Well, then you're telling me that Terry's company really went bankrupt? It was a pretty big shock to the local economy. I bet if you did a quick internet search, you'd find all sorts of news articles about it. Oh no. You were telling the truth? Let's get this conversation back on track now, okay? Now, the timing of Terry moving in with me was somewhat unfortunate. I've been planning to move downtown for a while, since while living in the suburbs is nice for families, it's pretty inconvenient for my work. As such, I would be terminating the lease for my old condo around the same time. I told Terry that he could live with me up until I was going to move out, so roughly 4 or 5 months, and after that he would have to find some more permanent arrangement for himself. Wait a moment. 4 or 5 months? But I've been living here for 5 months, so... You guessed it. The big day has finally come and I'm moving out. Terry and I have been getting ready for this move for the last several months. What about you, Mom? Have you figured out where you're going to live from now on? Oh boy, you haven't done any planning at all? Well, I'll just keep on living with Terry and his family. Are you serious? Terry knows all about how terribly you were treating Samantha back when you were living in the company apartment. He told you all the way back then that he wanted you to move out, right? He wasn't thinking clearly, you see. Fortunately for you, though, it was around that same time when his company went under, which meant he had much more important things on his mind than dealing with your nonsense. But don't tell me you didn't notice. Think about it. During the last few months while we've been living together in my condo, have we ever left you alone with Samantha, even once? Didn't you think that was a little bit strange? Now that you mention it... Yeah, well, that was all intentional. Now, the next order of business, where are you going to live now? You can live wherever you want. You can go back to your hometown, rent an apartment by yourself, join a convent. The choice is yours. Wait a moment. Oh, this is all far too sudden. We've been telling you for months. You just haven't been listening. So no, I'm not going to let you sit there and be all like, oh no, poor me, I had no idea this was coming. But I really am unprepared for this. Now that I think about it, Terry did mention talking to Aunt Virginia about what we were going to do with you. Aunt Virginia? You talked to my sister? Yep. What were you thinking? You know how that woman is. She was an MMA fighter for years. Her solutions to problems always involve her fists. If I have one piece of advice to give you, it's this. I strongly suggest you do the housework on your own from now on. Oh no. Now, I've got a very big collab project coming up, so if you'll excuse me, I've got a ton of preparation to do. Wait, Angie! Bye, Mom. On the day they moved out of the condo, my brother showed up to the house with the moving company and my Aunt Virginia in tow. Mom started crying and screaming like, I don't want to move. I want to live here. I want to live with my grandchild. I don't want to do any chores. But Aunt Virginia's specialty full Nelson put a stop to that. She dragged her into her car and drove off to her house way out in the forest outside the city. As for my brother, my media network happened to be looking for someone with solid business experience. And when they looked at Terry's resume, they offered him the job right there on the spot. So Terry and his family moved downtown with me. Well, not really with me, but they did get an apartment in the same area of town, so we can spend all the time together that we'd like. When Mom heard that we were all living happily and peacefully in the city, she tried to make her big escape from Aunt Virginia's house. But she didn't even get 3 steps out of the front door when Aunt Virginia put her in a textbook figure 4 lock. And when she tapped out, she dragged her right back inside. And she remains there to this day, undergoing the very, very strict rehabilitation program run by my dear Aunt Virginia.
Simon, honey, do you know when you'll be coming home? Your father doesn't seem like he's feeling too well. We decided to take him to the hospital. Do you think you'll be able to make a visit?
Oh, is it finally time to bid farewell to the old man? About time. I've waited years for this.
That isn't very nice. Why would you say something like that? This isn't the time to be joking around, honey. We need you here. Can you make it?
I don't know. I'm kinda busy. Maybe if I feel like it.
If you feel like it? What are you saying? Your father might be in critical condition. This could be life-threatening.
I said I'm busy. You can be so persistent sometimes. Oh, but if there's going to be other relatives coming to visit, don't forget to tell them that I'm late because of work. I can't have you telling stories and ruining my reputation. Got to make sure they still think I'm a great guy.
All right, I will. But, honey, I'm sure your dad would be very happy to see you. Your visit might be just what he needs to get better. We'll be waiting, okay? Be sure to visit as soon as you can.
Yeah, whatever. For God's sake, I thought taking care of the house was your job. And now you're bothering me with all these things I really don't care about. You should really do better. Aren't you supposed to be my wife?
All right, I'll try to do my best. But please promise me you'll come and visit once you have the time.
You home?
Yes, I'm home. Is something wrong? I thought you were taking a day off from work today. I can tell you've been very busy with your job recently. You had to leave during the middle of the funeral, and you didn't even have the time to say goodbye.
I'm heading home right now. I guess I should tell you that I quit my job.
What? Why would you do something like that?
Dad left a fortune. Haven't you heard? Actually, don't answer that question. I didn't know about it until now, so there's no chance you knew. Apparently, there's nearly $4 million left in his bank account.
Is that so? But I still don't see why you would just quit your job like that. There's no reason to.
You really don't get it? Jeez. Just what you would expect from someone who's poor. You can be so ignorant sometimes. Use your brain for once. Who needs to work when they have $4 million?
I don't see where this is going.
Oh, but I do. I guess I'm just different from mindless peasants like you.
Are you calling me a peasant?
Am I wrong? You grew up poor, and I don't think you're rich right now. I'm going to inherit all of the money, Rose, which means that I'm going to become a millionaire. That's why I quit my job. Why work when you can have all the cash in the world? Maybe I'll start a new business or something. After all, I can do anything with the $4 million.
Do you really think you can start a business? That sounds difficult. Do you have any specific plans?
Don't act like you know anything about businesses. A brain-dead female like you wouldn't understand.
You sound very sure of yourself. But are you sure quitting your job was a good idea? Your company has always been good to you. Your salary was above average, and you never had any complaints before. They took proper care of its employees. Most people would probably die for a job like that. I hope you won't regret it.
You really don't understand a single thing, do you? Poor people. They just don't think the same way as millionaires like me. You're pathetic.
I think you're rather far from becoming an actual millionaire.
Poor people really are the worst. All they do is complain and kill the mood. They just can't understand how cultured people think. That's part of the reason why I hated living with you. Good thing we can finally end it.
Sorry, I don't think I'm following. Could you clarify what you mean by end it?
You can leave now. Get out of the house.
Get out of the house? But doesn't that mean...
Wow, you actually can use your brain. Yes, it means I'm kicking you out. I don't need you anymore. I am about to be able to get whatever I want with this money. I have no need for you. Not that you are of any use to begin with.
Wait, you're really going to kick me out?
Yes. Can't you read? It's pretty much a guarantee that I'm going to inherit Dad's fortune. I'm the oldest man in the household. I also made sure to take care of him these last few years. That leaves a good impression when we divide up what he's leaving behind.
But you didn't take care of him. I was the one who took care of your dad all these years.
So, you're not actually his family, though. You're my wife. As worthless as you are, if you took care of my dad, then good. That means that I taught you well. It also means that my brother had less chances of leaving an impression. I doubt he'd be getting anything. So, I'll be living a happy life with Dad's $4 million from now on.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're basically telling me is that as soon as you thought that you were going to inherit the $4 million, you decided to kick me out of the house?
Yes, that's what I've been telling you for the past hour or two. I knew you were slow, but this is starting to get annoying. Anyways, now that you finally understand why I don't need you anymore, it's time to arrange our divorce. And no, you don't have to worry about the cost. I'll cover all the filing fees. I'll even pay you an extra $50,000 if you leave quickly.
Really? You're willing to do that for me?
I have money to spare, unlike you. But once you accept the money, that's going to be the end of the story. We're never going to have another conversation again, is that clear? I'll be busy starting a new life in luxury. I don't have time to deal with you.
Can I just ask you a few more questions? You seem eager. Were you planning this divorce for a while?
Of course I was. What's the point of being married to a woman who can't even give me a child?
But we didn't have time for a child. I was busy taking care of your dad, and you rarely came home.
Enough with your excuses. Just get out of the house, you hear? You'll have to get out eventually because I'm going to sell it.
Sell it? But why? It's full of fond memories with your dad. You probably have more than I do. Don't you want to keep it?
I'm getting ready to buy a new house, and I need that old house to help me pay the mortgage. I'm willing to pay you $50,000, so quit complaining. It might be a large sum of money for the likes of you to handle, but consider it as compensation for me cheating.
I knew it. You really were cheating on me all along. I'm guessing that means you'll be moving in with the woman that you were cheating on me with then?
Starting to feel jealous. Doesn't matter. You'll be out of the house, and you won't have anything to do with me for the rest of your miserable life.
It's only been 10 days since your dad passed away, and you're already making plans to sell this house. I was trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I can tell that you really don't care about your father.
You're talking way too much. I don't consider you my wife anymore. You don't have a say in anything. I suppose you want me to thank you for helping me take care of Dad. But that was the one and only thing you were actually useful for. Now that that's over, I have no reason to keep you. The $4 million is pretty much already in my pocket. Just be smart for once. Take the $50,000 and leave.
All right then. I agree with the divorce.
That took you long enough. I want you to pack everything up and leave the house by the end of the day. Is that clear?
Yes, I hear you. Fine. I'll get the documents ready and send them to you. Or maybe I can just leave them on the kitchen table when I leave. When will you transfer the $50,000 to my bank account?
The faster the better. My current savings should be just enough. I can't wait until I get the inheritance. $50,000 is nothing compared to $4 million.
Then you can transfer the money to me today. I'll be accepting that as compensation for you cheating on me. Thank you for taking care of me. Though there really isn't much to thank you for.
What the hell is going on, Rose?
What? I thought we weren't going to talk anymore after we got divorced.
I still haven't received my inheritance. Have you heard anything from the lawyers? You better not hide anything from me.
So that's what you contacted me for? I don't think you'll be getting anything, Simon.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't think you'll be getting a dime.
I don't get it. Where's my $4 million? I've been waiting.
I really don't understand how you thought you would be receiving anything.
I'm the oldest man in the family, now that Dad is out of the picture. I should be the one to inherit all of his fortune.
Roy left a will. You didn't hear about it?
Obviously not if I have to ask you about what's going on.
After the funeral, an executor from the court came to pay his respects. He was apparently named by your dad before he passed, and he was responsible for carrying out his wishes. We arranged a date where we could talk about the contents of the will. Don't worry about it. It's already done.
Why haven't I heard anything about it?
Because you were barely at the funeral. You left early, remember? We decided that there wouldn't be much of a problem without you, so we didn't bother contacting you.
What the hell?
According to the will, your dad decided to hand all of his fortune to me. It was very kind of him.
I don't have time for all this nonsense. Just tell me the truth.
If you don't believe me, why don't you ask your brother? He should be able to tell you a lot. After all, he is the one that was appointed to take over the family company.
Are you kidding me?
I suppose it doesn't really have much to do with you, since you were never really good at working in general. If I remember correctly, that's why you were working at another company, right? Anyways, your brother inherited your dad's company, and I inherited his fortune.
You inherited the 4 million? There's gotta be a mistake.
There's no mistake. For the past several years, I alone took care of Roy after his retirement. It wasn't easy, since you wouldn't allow me to hire help. The least you could have done would be to give me a helping hand, but you never even bothered to do that. Your dad kept silent about it, but he resented you for never lifting a finger or caring enough to help him.
Why wouldn't he say anything?
Why should he have to? You're his son. By the way, he also knew that you were cheating on me. I'm guessing that's the reasoning behind why he decided not to give you anything.
But the lawyer said that there was a fortune of 4 million.
There is. It's just that none of it is going into your pocket. I'm just guessing here, but I'm pretty sure the lawyer never said anything about you being the one receiving it. That will be all. We're already divorced, and there's nothing holding the two of us together. I have no intention of associating with you anymore.
Don't you talk to me like that, you pathetic woman. Why do you get to keep all the money? You're not even related to my dad. You barely even knew him. I should be the one receiving the 4 million. Not you. Me.
If I barely knew him, then why would I look after him all these years? If I didn't know him, I wouldn't do something like that, would I? The reality is I knew him much better than you did, especially in the last few years of his life. I think it's about time you came to terms with the facts. You're a horrible person, and this is what you get for your actions.
Okay, fine. I guess you knew him. Whatever. But that doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about right now. Stop going off topic.
Really? I think it has everything to do with it. You're the one who started the conversation about what happened to the money, right? So I'm just trying to be nice and explain to you how your dad was kind enough to grant me his fortune, and the reasons as to why you weren't able to receive anything from such a kind man like him. I don't see why you're having trouble following.
He's my dad, though.
Oh, now you care about him all of a sudden? I still remember when you didn't even bother to show up at the hospital when I called you. The only thing you did was attend the funeral, and even then, you left early and barely bothered to pay respects. Come to think of it, I don't think you even tried to act mournful. It's sad to think that you only thought of your father as a source of wealth.
That's not true at all.
I don't know. At the very least, that's the impression most of your relatives, your dad, and I got looking at how you usually behaved. But I guess it doesn't really matter. Regardless of what's true, just keep in mind that you won't be getting anything from him. Whatever you decide to do from now on, I don't really care. We're divorced. Just do it where I can't see you.
I'm going to make you regret acting so arrogant. And what about the 50,000 I paid you? What about that?
I thought we were clear about that. It's compensation.
What do you mean, compensation?
You're the one who suggested it. Compensation for you cheating on me. If you have any more problems, I would appreciate it if you would talk about it to my lawyers. I don't want to listen to you complaining all day long, and I also have nothing more to say to you.
But my money! Where's my money?
You should think about how you behaved. You were so busy with work that you barely came home. You rarely helped out with taking care of the house, much less caring for your father. Even when you were at home, you would just lie on the sofa watching TV all day, like a couch potato. Frankly speaking, I think both your dad and I had enough. We expected more from you, and I'm sorry it had to come to this.
It's not my fault. I was busy. Are you telling me that I'm not allowed to spend a day off relaxing?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But were you really that busy? Are you sure you weren't just going out with whoever you were cheating on me with? Judging from how well you are with your work, I doubt you had any important roles at the company. It's not just your work ethics that's a problem. It's also your values. If you think getting a divorce the moment you were getting $4 million was a good idea, then I have no words for you.
It's not like that. I had problems too. I was stressed out. I'm just not the type of person to show it or talk about it. Come on, there has to be some goodness in you. Share the inheritance with me. Don't you think it's wrong to keep all that money to yourself? I never knew you were so greedy.
What problems did you have? Care to explain? You barely put any money into the house, no matter how many times I asked. When I was having trouble making ends meet, you went on a solo vacation to Paris. And now you're asking me to give you a part of the fortune? I'm sorry, but I can't agree to that.
You knew about the vacation to Paris?
Yes, and there's a lot more secrets I know about you, so don't think you can fool me. There's no point in talking to you anymore, is there? I already moved out of our old house, just like you ordered me to do. If you want to sell it to buy a new house, then please, help yourself. I don't care. Just don't think you'll be getting much out of it.
But I invested like $1 million for the new house. I already got a mortgage. I was going to pay it off with the inheritance. Now what am I supposed to do? I'm broke.
I don't know, but don't ask me. It's not my problem. You're the one who offered the $50,000. I just accepted it.
But this wasn't the way things were supposed to go.
You really only have yourself to blame for all this. I think you should start looking at the hard truth, Simon.
I'm sorry, dear. I apologize for my actions. Please, forgive me. Just give me my portion of the inheritance.
Your father didn't leave you anything, remember? A portion of 0 is 0. You're not getting anything. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Everything your father left is safely passed on to the hands of your brother and me. There's nothing left for you. Please, enjoy your luxurious new life with your girlfriend.
But Rose, I don't have a job anymore. I don't have a job and I have a mortgage to pay. Your husband is having a hard time right now. Don't you think you should be doing your duty as a wife and help me out?
I'm not your wife anymore, honey. Did you forget? We had a divorce. I spent a large chunk of my life taking care of Roy. There's a lot of things I missed out on, and I think he realized that too. I'll be making up for the time I lost. I'm sure he'll want me to spread my wings. The first thing I wanted to do was get a divorce, but I didn't have the courage to bring it up. I was lucky you did.
Help me, please. Even if we aren't married anymore, we spent years together. We used to love each other so much.
But did you? If you did, that was a long, long time ago. The past several years was one of the hardest times of my life. I'm almost 40 now, but it looks like life will finally become better. I'm sorry to say that I can't say the same for you, Simon. Simon continued sending messages to Rose, but she never saw it. She already blocked him. The lawyers Simon consulted all told him that he won't get any portion of the inheritance, and that was when he finally realized that there was nothing more he could do. He was broke, and he was also deep in debt. He needed to accept his consequences. Once his girlfriend realized that he wouldn't be getting any money, she left him. The new house they were planning to live in has been taken away as well. Simon begged for help from Rose, Sydney, and other relatives, but they all decided against it, and Simon had no other choice but to find a new job. The only reason he was able to work at a reputable company before was because Simon's dad owed the CEO a favor, not because he was skilled in any way. He wasn't able to find a full-time job, nor a proper part-time job. The only place that was willing to employ him was a shady factory out of state. The working conditions were terrible, and he is currently forced to work day and night with little to no rest. On the other hand, Rose was able to start a successful business with the $50,000 she got for compensation. She decided to use the $4 million by investing in the stock market, where she also found tremendous success. A few years later, she would meet a kind gentleman who she would eventually marry and start a new life with. Rose was forever thankful to Roy for giving her such a great opportunity. She made it her life's goal that she would become happy and make her father-in-law proud. I guess people who aren't good at their jobs also have a hard time making plans about their futures. Use this as an example, and don't do what Simon did.